Hi guys, it's Aegis here. So today I'm here with a Overlord deck profile, and I will be explaining some choices that I feel different to some people, because I did try out two ways of playing the deck. The changes will not be a lot, but I will also explain in this video, so um, you can see what is changed and what you can do to change it, and then of course knowing the content of the deck and see how great it is. I have been playtesting this deck for a while, and so far I'm quite comfortable with the results. So let's go. For the right line, as usually, these are the common parts for Overlord, and for grade 3 I'm actually using the End instead of the OG Overlord, which you see right here. Some people actually choose to use OG Overlord because he can withstand after hitting a Vanguard, which is so easy, and of course hitting the Vanguard can still withstand, but the idea is more on having your opponents to overguard for your Overlord, or just PG it so that he will not withstand while they don't play other regards in the front row. So that's the plan. But if you ask me, my mindset is actually quite different. When I see the end, like text review for the first time, I know that I'm going to put him into my right deck. Even though that will make him lose the 5k forever, and he will always -1 drive and withstand. But the threat that the end himself brings is still very, very massive in my opinion, and I see more value in using him and the OG Overlord, even with the -1 drive, even with plus 5k. So you will see, like in the next 5 videos that I'm going to upload, I still need to like edit it and put it up, but you will see that, and it will be a mix, like 2 matches together. That one I'm using actually the OG Overlord and how it goes, and another one is how I go for the end, so that you can see the difference. Now with the end, he withstands, of course, no matter what. Doesn't have great restrictions, as long as you have 1 counterblast and 2 hands, and after discard attacks, which usually won't be stopped. Like, you won't get forced by your opponents to tell you not to attack, so as long as you have a counterblast and 2 hands, you can withstand in so far in this moment. So the threat that you can bring with the end, I think, is a lot more higher, because instead of forcing opponents to drop a lot of cards to not let you withstand with your OG Overlord, you are baiting your opponents to let you hit on the first attack, because after withstand you don't get 5k, of course, you -1 drive and you swing again, which is kind of easier to guard, even though you get some power-ups, because the calculation is a lot easier, and people can just go 1 pass because you're only doing 1 drive. But that is the way that we can push your opponents to a corner, because if they don't take the first hit, then that means they drop a lot of things, and if you don't get triggers, they waste the cards. If you got a trigger, you stand again, you attack again, they probably don't have another card, or even if they do, they don't have anything to fight you back. That's the point. And if they willing to take the first hit and you suddenly put a crit or even 2 crits, that hurts them a lot already, and you withstand it, and now they have to guard a lot more. So it's more of a play style thing, which I prefer the threats of 2 attacks guarantee, and the threats of letting me to hit on the first one, or the threats to not blocking both attacks. I see a lot more value in here. That's why the right line is like that. But if you really want to change, which I will tell you very soon what you can do, but with Flightline, that's basically it. Okay, now let's talk about the Grade 3s. I am running 3 The Ends, 1 Tri-Bash. For The End is personal right because having the extra 10k is great, you need more souls, and even if you have too much, you can still kind of just discard him for the cost, which is totally fine. So far, I only need to personal right once in order to win games, because my aim with The End is I ride from the right deck one turn, I hope to win there. Next, if not, win the next turn. If not, I have to win the next turn. So in 3 turns, I need to win. But usually things end in 2 turns. Because if in 2 turns they can survive, usually what that means is they don't have anything left. And the third one is really just when they are exhausted, you just finish them off. That's usually just the case. And if they really have so much resources to guard so many things while still pushing you back, then you deserve to lose. Like, if they hit into so many defensive triggers, they just use so less hands to guard everything, then that's fate, right? That's how the game goes. But usually, in normal plays, you can just win like very fast with this deck. And for Tri-Bash, it's also for your early push, because we don't have a lot of retiring power in this deck, so that you don't get to use Tri-Bash like very often. But when your opponents see you using these 3, they might think you are using OG Overlord, so they don't play a lot of regards, especially for the front row, so that they don't have a lot, which Tri-Bash can just come in and say, okay, now I can just threaten you. I have the choice to add crit on my first attack or add crit on my second attack, right? This is already threatening, because what I want to do is baiting my opponents to take the first hit, which you can add the crit there so the opponents need to guard it, or you can just continue with the plan, and when we stand, put this card into your soul, add an extra crit, then your opponents have to kind of overguard it so that they don't give you a chance for a 1 pass, because that's 1 more crit coming in. That's the threat that you can do with Tri-Bash, but you don't do that often, so I'm only using 1. And another good thing with Tri-Bash is this card goes to souls, and we use a lot of souls, so putting more souls is actually very helpful. And for the change, if you want to use OG Overlord, this will be the change. And to me, the rest of the deck is the same. Of course, you can do your personal adjustment, but that is the change that I usually do, so that I can try out how things goes. Like the same idea, just having a guaranteed right on the end, or right OG Overlord while waiting for the end. How that difference, you will see in the upcoming 5 videos. Now next, going to grade 2s, 3 more harms, so that we can Soul Blast and pump our Vanguard, because that's important. We don't get the plus 5k from the end, so the extra 5k from the Harlem every single turn is very important, so you can see the importance of using Soul. And also making the attack to 18k, your opponents cannot just simply drop a 15k shield and ask for 2 pass. Now it's only a 1 pass. So they have to give you more in order to do a 2 pass, which already using a lot of resources. And this card also pump the harms, so he can adjust with 8k to hit 23, or he can hit into something that is 10k, that is in rearguard, and forcing opponents to give you a 10k shield, which is also important in some plays. And then I'm using 2 of the Berserk Dragons for retiring power. Berserk Dragons can also get 5k, but my eye on this card is for the retiring power, because there are always some units that I don't like and I want them gone, even though Berserk Dragon can only retire grade 2 or lower, but still Like if you're facing a roller, you know you need to retire their tokens so they don't have extra 5k defense. You want to retire their Redolina so that they can keep generating like Momoke tokens. Or if you see like some like earlier builds, if they didn't have like the Fox or they have too much regards, you have a chance to retire them. Yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do with this card, not only for the retiring part but also kind of like the Harlem to go for 15 plus 8 to become 23k, so the opponents need to give you a little bit more shield. And then 2 of the even. So even is for counter charge, for extra draw, and go back to my concept with the end, because I'm baiting my opponents to take the first hit, so I can actually place an even somewhere else, or just boost attack, or just attack a grade 1 depending on whatever situation that is. That you can make sure that this card first, go over the end, your opponents will take the first hit, just assume they are, then you counterblast 1, drop 2, and then withstand, which you only have 1 drive, and then this card, retire himself, counter charge 1, you draw 1 card back, so you still going to get 2 cards, like after the second, like in the conclusion of the second attack, because you're drawing 1 from here, you're drive checking 1, even though you won't be doing 2 drive checks, but you are not losing too much, and you get a counter charge, which you can kind of get prepared for the next turn, because sometimes if you don't counter charge, your opponents will going to lock your damage, and now they see this card here and they know you are going to use the counter blast, even so they just put everything down so that you won't hit 2 times. That's still a win. And then 2 of the Perforate Burner Dragon. So this is new card from the set 5, that when you discard this card from the hand during your battle phase, put this card in your soul and choose 1 of your unit and plus 5k. It can be a Vanguard. So with the Harlem, you're putting your DN to 18, and with this card you're putting your DN to 23, which making guarding a lot more harder, right? So they cannot just say a 10k shield for 1 pass. They need to give you a 15k shield only for 1 pass. So which is the great part of this card, but you need to discard this card from hand, and sometimes you rather have a lot more attackers. That's why I'm only running 2, just for a urgent, like, or maybe just a little power adjustment, because you can also pass to like the Harlems to put them to 20 with AK booster, we can 28k. So depending on situations, you can push your DN to something a lot more threatening, baiting more shields. You can put into these guys for like extra power up, or you can also give to Burning Horn, because Burning Horn got 2 skills. One is counter blast 1 when placed on Radar Circle to top 7 for a Overlord unit, add to your hand. If you didn't reveal, you counter charge, so you don't waste a counter blast. And for each time your Overlord Vanguard attacks, this card gets 5k. So with the end, we are always guaranteed 2 attacks. Is basically a 20k body, and with him, you can pump him to 25. With AK, it's 33. So that's a very threat. 20k shield is not going to save them without defensive. So with these 2, they are just great beater, and then with some power adjustment, some kind of on-hit threats, forcing opponents to put a lot more shields, or at least letting you to do all your plays, both you still win. Now let's go to grade 1. First, we have 3 more bars. He is basically my early heater, because on grade 1 turn, if I'm going second, I am always placing another grade 1 to attack, because especially with bar, because my Vanguard attacks early stage, a lot of people choose not to guard, which means one bar can always get plus 5k. Putting him to 13, so 5k shield will not simply card, and if I got a trigger to 23, a 15k shield is not going to block the attack as well. So that's how important bar is early game. And if he survives, you just put him to the back row, or maybe boosting with something else while he's still in the front. That is still threatening, because this is also a card that while you are baiting your opponents to take hit, you gain benefits from a hit, like with these two. That's basically the idea. And then 2 Gojos for counter charge, but I have to say I rarely retire him for counter charge unless I really need to. But you, even when you have no open counter blast, when the end swings with this on the field, your opponents now need to be very cautious. They need to guard you, because for whatever reason you hit, you can retire your Gojo and counter charge. Then your DN can have the cost to withstand. And then 2 more Tokachirashi for soul in, because we use a lot of souls. That's basically what his uses, and a good cost for the end to discard, like him. And then I'm running 2 of the Dragonic Shihao. So this is a card that we didn't use in a previous Overlord build, but now he is a lot more useful because he kind of saved me a hand to use my right deck and also filling my soul so that my Harlem have cost, which is very important. And he can be searched by bar. When you write, you're on the Harlem on top of bar, so it's really helpful, and it's basically my grade 2 place. When I write the Harlem on top of bar, I always search for him, unless I have one in hand. If not, then I'll search him and I have a bar, then I can just place them like this line, which in the match that I sometimes do forget, when he appears on Rigor Circle, he also get a 5k, which making the guarding a lot harder. But of course now I notice, and it's important because just that is 19k. If your Vanguard hit plus 5 more is 24. So even if your opponents get a defensive trigger, they still need to guard, like play some cards to guard you. So that is a very important like power adjustment that we have, and I really like this card. But since you probably only will be using it once, so I'm going to run into just in case I lose 1 to the damage. And then 4 PGs, just because PGs are PGs. Now going to triggers, you can see how aggressive this can be. First, of course, Dragon Empire over trigger so that we can do free restand with the end plays possible, and because our Vanguard will always be the end, so whenever we pull a over trigger, we are doing free resets, if that makes sense. And then 4 of the sewing crit, 4 of another crit, so that we can push very early whenever we meet triggers, because the rest is only 3 draws, that is 10k shield, and 4 of the old heal, because so far I don't see the 10k heals is fitting in this deck yet. I don't play with a lot of units that withstand, that attack me with themselves more than one time. But maybe with the later festival collection crit, I might actually put 2 in to preventing high crit attacks. Yeah, so that's basically the list, and let's talk about some plays that you can do with the deck. Now, of course, first we go from 0 to 1. Usually nothing happens. If you're going first, that will probably be your end turn, and if you are going second, usually that's my play. Swing with this, usually take hit, and this can swing for 13 if trigger 23, or if your opponents get a defensive, then of course something is stopped. Then we go to grade 2, and we take hit of course, so that we can pick this guy up if we don't have this card in your hand. So if you don't have Shihab in hand, pick this, place here, then swing and swing with this. But if you actually have one, then of course you will play one there. Then what you can do as another early rush, you can place another par, you can place a Gojo, or if you really insist you can get this, or if you want to soul, you can get this. So you have a lot of options, but my first option will be this, second option will be this, then these are my third options. I can see a lot of people picking PGs. I used to pick up PGs, but I am going with a very fast play, so at least I'm going for 2 attacks every single turn. And then when you go to grade 3, no matter this exists or not, you put this in your soul, right at the end, pull down the harms out, put a line there, and then if your opponents don't have a lot of regards, you can do that. If they kind of play some great ones to hit you, you can even do that, right? And you just get yourself another like great ones like here. You can swing with this, and you swing with this, and do your drive checks, assume hit, counter loss 1, drop 2, withstand, retire, draw 1, counter charge, and then swing again, and then this swing. Or if this just exists, what you also can do, of course, one is try batch, and another way is to do this if you want to retire something, or this. Yeah, so the plus 5k, I will just leave it there if I do have this. So what usually happens will be like this when on right, and then you play this, try to search for Overlord and do that, and then you will swing with this, swing, and swing. Yeah, and then depending on situations, sometimes you might have to go for this and this sometimes if you want some retiring power, right? Or even if you like have this, then you can even just go for a Vanguard swing first, because this will still hit for 23 at least, and can potentially go to 28, and then after you withstand, you do whatever you want. Yeah, so things can go very fast, and as long as you keep doing 2 attacks at least per turn before grade 3, and going to grade 3 you're just trying to go all out, the -1 drive really won't hurt you that much, based on my experience. based on the playtest. So far it works so well. Give it a try, and feel free to let me know any questions. Like, there is a match that I used the OG Overlord, and I keep playing, and I almost stack out. And I have to basically drop my 6 card hand with 4 PGs to make sure none of the attack hits, because if any of the attack hits, I cannot withstand and do my thing. So that really hurts me so much. But with the ends, I am withstand. I like taking cards out from my deck fast, but I am also acting fast because I don't need to wait for the end to appear, and because he's in my right deck, and I just need to go with my plan. I just swing, I just hurt my opponent so much, and I need them to calculate so much. That's not my point of worry, because I want them to suffer on calculations so that I can just bait some of the attacks to go in, and whenever those spots, those like chances appears, I will just go in, take damage, and make you regret. That's the idea. Yeah. So basically that's the list. Again, feel free to ask me any questions. Give this video a like if you like this deck profile, and subscribe to my channel for more deck profiles. I still have some to come. I still have some deck to test, and hopefully I can still remain like a testing period for once a week at least, so I can just gather some data on specific decks. Or like this, I have actually tested for 2 weeks because I did miss some of the decks, so I can actually test it a little bit more, and also give myself some reasons to try out both and see which one fits me more. And of course, because you see this, which means this fits me more. Do let me know if it fits you, or if you do like the OG Overlord more, and we can discuss further in the comment below. Yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.